Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks and Guinea Titan. We're here on Prokhorovka and I'm on the T-95, the infamous Doom Turtle. This is one of the highlight games that I've had recently on the T-95. It's an interesting kind of battlefield. Now I am very fortunate in that there is no artillery in this game. Prokhorovka could be a very difficult map to be on in artillery. Now it is a pre-4.9 update, so the potential for artillery would have been, potentially you could sometimes have a lot of artillery, and I wasn't too sure. I think it's the first time I've had Prokhorovka in the T-95. I haven't had Prokhorovka too often actually in the T-95. Kind of go through spells where you just get different maps more often. And Prokhorovka is one I hadn't had in a while, but the sort of modern iterations of Prokhorovka are kind of difficult to play in tanks like a T-95. Because the thing is that they, in a map like this, the T-95, it's really all about the gun. The armour of the T-95 is not going to be much good to you, because there are plenty of tanks out there that can deal with it, and once you're spotted, you're going to be you can be shot at from quite a lot of locations. And you don't have a lot of cover, and it takes a while to get back into cover. Plus, if you're too far forward, then it is probably worth somebody's while just trying to do circle of death around you, because it's not something that a tank like the T-95 can cope with. So you generally need to be on some kind of high ground at the back where you can shoot over as much of the map as possible, and just use the superior power of this gun over long distances. There used to be a lot of good ground around A1 for that kind of thing, but they have removed that ground in an effort to make Prokhorovka less campy. I don't think they've succeeded. You still get very campy play on Prokhorovka. It's just now it's ineffective campy play. Whereas before, if you scouted the ridgeline of the centre, or even brought a heavy tank down to the ridgeline of the centre, you don't go cresting the ridge in a heavy tank, at least that often. Your job isn't to actually shoot enemy tanks. At least not the ones in front of you. Your job actually is to shoot the ones coming across, trying to edge around the flanks or edge around the flanks at either side of you, or at least on the opposite side of the map to where you're on. That's usually the best thing you can do with your tank without exposing it on the other side of the map, like that AMX 1375 is just after doing. Completely the wrong thing to do. But at least with the high ground camping in the old maps, people actually at the back that were camping were somewhat effective. They were in a position they could see enemy targets and hit enemy targets. Now they're usually in locations where what they can see is very limited, and the amount of support fire you can get out of them sometimes can be really, really bad. So we have the situation where we've only 2 tanks forward, and it's not really enough, so we've already lost the bowl there on the western side of the central ridgeline. There's an enemy medium tank already in it, and there was a T-95 I think out been spotted behind them, and there's quite a lot of tanks here along the 1 line and the 2 line on the western side of the map. And I'm pretty much here on my own. There's the T-95. He had angles, so I think I bounced that shot, but I was hoping to actually track him out in the open when he was spotted, because if he was tracked when he was spotted, there was a chance the people over by the railroad might get flanking shots into him and take him out. So we've lost 4 tanks and we're going to kill 1 enemy tank. Yours truly is the only one who's done it. So that's pretty ineffective on our part, and it just shows the kind of poor deployment and poor dispersion of our tanks. There's just too many heavy tanks at the back, definitely, and there's a tank destroyer pushing up on me here. Is T-28. Now he's coming up on his own, and it turns out that I'm able to deal with him, although he does quite a bit of damage. But if he actually had support, if 2 or 3 of his buddies came up here with him, I would have been crushed, completely crushed by the 3 of them. T-28's, well, he's not showing me much, and he's trying to shoot my hatches as well as I'm trying to shoot his, because again he's not giving me the lower part of his tank to shoot at, and he's maximizing his capabilities, his position. And I am taking some flanking fire because I'm up on a bit on the high ground, alright, so I'm taking some shots into the side as well. But definitely if he had been supported, it would have been game over at this stage. And our position would have just collapsed completely, actually. The enemy are probably a little too cautious, although I suppose it's understandable enough because sometimes pushes up this flank just don't work out a lot of the time as well. I really need to get rid of this guy because he's keeping me spotted, and I'm taking damage because of it. So I would actually be better off if I pushed down into the lower ground. I know I'm trying to use this Hulk in front of me to protect my lower front plate because he probably has a chance to shoot at it or see it. So eventually, anyway, we get rid of him and we have another kill. That's still our only kills. We haven't actually made any other kills. We're still fortunate to be only 3 tanks down actually at this point. But definitely some of the tanks, the heavy tanks at the back, could do with pushing forward or pushing over to this side of the map, and they would get some more opportunities, especially tanks with some bit of mobility. That 110 actually is playing a fairly decent game. He's given himself a good location. He's surviving pretty well. That TVP as well is... I've gotten a hit into him, but he hasn't taken any more damage since. Now there's another guy coming up, a Yak Panther. He is starting to push up in his own as well. He's getting some support from an IS behind. Now I fire at the no longer spotted IS, but the shot just dunks directly into the ground in front of me. Now one allied tank did push forward, but he was a bottom tier tank. He was I think he was a bottom tier tank. Not too sure what he was, and the Yak Panther has appeared. Now I'm going to have to get rid of him as well. I can't afford to sit around and let him plink away at me as well. Just taking a hit from somebody behind him, I think. Somebody back there, further back that is. Also got a dangerous enough gun. So I'm pushing forward here. I'm going to get spotted by the Yak Panther, but I need to take him out of it. And he's got no cover down here. He would probably be as well off pushing forward as he was retreating, because he might have been mobile enough to get around me. Or at least, if he had pushed on earlier on, he might have been mobile enough, maybe not to get around me as such, but at least make me present my flank where I was in a position where I could be fired at by his allies, whereas I'd gone down into a bit lower ground, his allies couldn't really fire at me, and I caught him in the open anyway. He had no place to go. But in the meanwhile, we've lost more tanks. Now, somebody other than me has managed to kill an enemy tank as well. But things are looking pretty grim at this stage. We're completely bottled into the top end of the map. We've lost the eastern side of the map, and I'm only hanging in by the fingernails of this side of the map. Really, if the enemy had pushed against me in strength, I wouldn't be still alive or still in this position. There's a Tiger P pushing over the central ridge there, and we're going to get a decent shot on him. Somebody puts a round into him and managed to finish him off, so we've gotten another kill, and an ally has picked up a kill as well, so it isn't just me at this stage killing enemy tanks, there are other people doing it as well. But again, it's a bit late, we've lost another allied tank. They're now here at the railway embankment and the railway bridge, and at this stage I probably should have paid more attention to the railway bridge, the opening on the railway embankment. Although I don't know if I would have gotten that much firing positions, or else I probably should have pushed down after the Yak Panther and just, I don't know if it would have made any difference. Waiting for the Waffenträger of Panzer IV to come out, and as he comes out I fire and I catch the light tank as he was crossing in front of him. It's another tank out of the game, but I'd rather have knocked the chunk out of the Panzer IV. I might have tracked him, or the Waffenträger, and if I had tracked the Waffenträger I might have been able to get rid of him. A far more dangerous gun to get rid of, and I'm on my own at this point. It is, I'm not going to win this game, like I don't have the mobility, but can I do more damage? Somebody's just knocked a big chunk out of the side of me there from the top of the hill. The 110 is visible. He has come over the ridge. We have got rid of him, but I don't think I'm going to get much more out of this. We're up to 6 kills. There is another tank appearing, but the T-95 on the enemy team has just taken me out. This guy suffered no damage whatsoever, so he's just moved into the position late enough in the game. He stayed further back. He was only spotted once and never really took any fire. So I did 5,500 damage. Did nearly 5,000 block damage. Killed 6 tanks. Got a 2nd class mastery. And if we go around and look at the actual team score, we will see that I came number 1 by experience. And the other interesting thing is that three of my allies managed to score kills. An AMX 1375, the Stridwagen 1030, and the T29. 2 out of those 3 tanks were not top tier tanks; they were bottom tier tanks. So, in fact, none of the enemy team really did spectacular damage. They all did. A lot of them did pretty solid amounts of damage, and they had no player on the enemy team did 0 damage, whereas we had a bunch of players that did 0 damage. So, and I think that was just, you had on average players that were willing to take more risks, and they made those risks pay off. They didn't sit at the back. They didn't play overly cautiously, and everybody got their little bit of damage, and even the worst of them, like I said, did better than the worst of our guys. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and a share. Feel free to comment if you haven't already done so. Please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.